of the four, he purposed, he made a decision in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies. Why was it a defilement? I'll get to that in a minute. He would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine that the king drank. Therefore, he made a request. He requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might be excused, him and his friends, that they would not defile themselves from partaking of the regime. And then, when Daniel said that to this leader, he of course panicked and said, it's like you're putting my job on the line. And Daniel said, no, I am not just one of those people that tell you this can't be done without creating an alternative. I am not one of those people that just criticizes destructively without giving you a constructive input. I am not one of those people that just cancels out an opinion without proffering another suggestion. I am not somebody that is just reactive and not proactive. Most times it tends to appear with a lot of us young people, and particularly in this part of the globe, that it's very easy to be critical, to condemn, to just put a tone and a note of finality without either looking at the detail of that suggestion, or if convinced that that is not a workable solution for me, then you come up with an alternative. It's always well and good to criticize any form of leadership, but it's always better to bring an alternative. Then there is comparison. Then it means you are coming on board with an attitude that shows that you are interested in the welfare. You are not just condemning, criticizing, and walking away. You are a partner. You are not just a condemning spectator and an onlooker. So this is what Daniel said. He said, I know you're going to lose your job, but this, I am just not canceling this food and drink, but test my friends and I for 10 days, give us vegetables and give us water. So here he creates an alternative. Instead of the king's delicacies and the king's wine, he says just give us vegetables and water for 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, Daniel says in verse 13, Daniel chapter 1 verse 13, Daniel is a book in the Bible. Chapter 1 verse 13, he says, then let our appearance, how we look, be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who you also gave the king's delicacies. And whatever you see, deal with us as you see fit. Immediately the head of that group said, of course, that's fine. I mean, that's normal. In verse 15 it says, at the end of 10 days, the features of Daniel and his three friends appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the people who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. Therefore the steward took away their portion and gave them the vegetables, and the story continues. Now this is what I'm talking about tonight, next week, and by the grace of God the third week, has nothing to do with comparison of diet. Maybe sometime later in life, later on in this program, we'll talk about it, because really I think that it's so well and good to have the great visions in life, to do great things, to accomplish great things, but you need a healthy body, you need a functional body, you need a functionally healthy body to get whatever vision you have done on this earth. And one of the ways to do that, obviously, is your nutrition, your diet. It also has to do with your rest. It has to do with your work habits. It also has to do with your appetite habits and many things like that. Your sleep is all important, but that's for another time. Here is Daniel and his three friends. When the nation of Israel were taken into Babylonian captivity, I am sure that it was not just 4 young men in that whole nation of 2.5 million people. I'm sure there were thousands of young men. But what is that thing that separates boy A from boy B? What is that thing that separates people in an interview panel? What is it that separates people for a job? There are nations in the world, particularly let's say in Africa, some nations are huge. If you think of the nation of Nigeria, over 155 million people, we are told. Chances are if there's a job application for one position, maybe there could be 700, maybe 7,000 people applying for that one job. And these are not 700, 1,000, 4,000 unqualified people. I am talking about people who are qualified. Every requirement that was stated in that job advertisement can be met by each of them. But at the end of the day, one person will get it. All things being equal, that one person that gets it should be somebody that has an edge. Not a connection, not a phone call from an uncle, not the girlfriend of some man or the sugar boy of some woman. No, somebody that has within themselves an edge. It could be appearance, it could be extra 2 languages, it could be an extra skill. So what is that delineating factor between A and B? What is it that makes better than good? What is it that makes best at a higher platform than better? What is it that makes excellent better than normal? What is it that separates grade A from grade AB? What is it that makes somebody stand on the gold dais and gets a gold medal in athletics, and somebody stands on the bronze, and somebody of course stands nowhere and waits for another time? Those are some of the things I want us to consider over the next 3 weeks. And this really is geared at our young people. I think anything from around 10, 11, 12, all the way to 35, 40, that will be my focus. Let me start by making 4 statements. I said there is a difference between the potential and the actual. There's a difference between a positional reality and a practical reality. Positionally, everybody is educated. Positionally, everybody can be wealthy, but practically, it's not the same. Potentially, everybody can be a leader. Potentially, everybody can be great. I don't necessarily believe that leaders are born. I believe skills can be taught, talents can be fine-tuned. There is no level to which you cannot climb if you put your mind to it in education, in self-training, and other things. Yet, potentially, it is possible, but in actual fact, it's a different thing. It's like how in a scientific experiment, you can hear these 2 phrases, in vitro and in vivo. In vitro means in the test tube, in the laboratory, where maybe the standard temperature and pressure or whatever is controlled, so you can get near to perfect results. But when you come to the in vivo, the life, the human experience that's buffeted by pollution and environmental issues and so many different variables and parameters that are not within the power of your control, the answers vary. And that's why sometimes even in certain answers, you find people putting a plus and a minus. There's got to be a leeway for a standard deviation either way, because there could be something. In athletics, they can say the speed of the wind. Okay? And so there's a difference between the potential and the actual. There's a difference between positional and practical. There's a difference between possibility and reality. Sometimes you look at something and you say it's possible, and with the eye, it's a possibility. But you have to somehow transition from possibility into reality. We must find out how to transition from a dream to the actualization. Now, everything that I said that might be on my left hand, that's potential, possibility, positional, and dream, are all, if you like, easy when they are seen. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a bridge, there is a gap, there is a stairway between what can be and what really will be. There is a gap between